long-term agreement.
Well, the agreement is on page 18 and 19 of the packet. Many of the items still included in there are the same as what was discussed at the last council meeting. Would like to run through what some of the changes are. Down where it's talking about installation and cost, and it had said that we run from the northwest corner and do all the final connections over at the manhole. Okay, this institutes a maximum cost on that. The maximum cost would be $2,500. Anything in excess of that's responsibility of vendor. On the connection fee, and this clarifies, the city would agree that connection fees are waived for the property. Okay, and that's what's included as attachment A, and that would be the Mike's house property and the campground property. Okay, owners should charge for fees based on its water usage charge, and the sewer fees shall be 1 1/2 times the municipal rate. Okay, if there's ever any permanent residential development beyond the owner's primary residence, beyond Mike's house, that would be subject to the standard city sewer connection.
You're kind of talking about that barn that we might be building, if that turns into a house, is that what you're saying?
Beyond that one, if Mike were to turn that into his home, he had indicated he's going to tear down his other one. He only wants one home.
That would be included on that attachment A.
Yes, that's on that.
But the next person that adds out paper is the construction cost plus the limit.
Yes, if it's outside of that property. Okay. We had a question about whether they, as the owners, and it was on the bottom of the page, or not the top of the page under additional connections, where it said all future properties seeking service from this lift station are subject to prior approval of the city. And that had said the city and the owners. So the owner section has been withdrawn from that. So just that the city would need to approve their connection into the system. Okay, and then as the fifth one comes on, they pay 1/5 of the construction cost, and the sixth one, and so on, with those costs going back to the owners on a pro rata share. The warranty, warranty is still in there about 2 years. It does say that the city would secure a property lien for 2 years to secure the warranty. So during the life of that warranty, it's secured by a lien, and that lien would be on the campground property. On the public dedication, there's just one change there with the last sentence where it said the owner shall retain and maintain their own. It had said connections, and that was changed to collection systems. So the owner, so Van Evans, do retain, and they're responsible for maintenance on their collection system within the park. Okay, the only other real big change is the inclusion of this on voluntary annexation, where it said after a period of 10 years from the date of dedication. So after the city has accepted the improvements, the owner agrees to negotiate into a voluntary annexation agreement with the city. And then there's that addition that was requested by many of you when I talked to you about it, that says they would voluntarily annex 10 years or upon the subdivision of land for individual sale. And as I talked with Mike about that, he wanted to see the wording on that this morning. And just to clarify that, what the subdivision of land would be for permanent residential use. So we would want to clarify that also.
So he has seen the verbiage and agrees to it with that clarification.
Yes. Yep.
So Scott, I don't like that word negotiate into a voluntary annexation. All that says is that he's willing to talk about it. It doesn't say he has to do it.
Yeah, and I asked him about that, and he said, yes, you know, of course we would intend on annexing, but he did reference things like the water system. So if they would annex and are going to develop that, they would need a different water system there, and that's very true.
But the word negotiate is kind of loose.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't say he's going to do it, or in 10 years, say he'll talk about it in 10 years. And if he's not comfortable with it, then what do we do then? If you let the word out, that if it says owner agrees into a voluntary annexation, it sounds a hell of a lot more appropriate.
Sure. Okay.
At least you know that something's going to get done instead of we're going to talk about it in 10 years.
Karen, does that sound right?
No, I agree with Jerry. If the council wants to agree that they can wait for a period of 10 years or whenever they subdivide the land for permanent residency, then they will then voluntarily annex. So that's a good point, Jerry.
I don't understand the reason that they're not annexing now anyway. They were willing to do it in the first go-around. Why not now? Is it because they want to walk away and say we got something from the city that we didn't have before, or what? Or we won this little battle, or what? We have an ordinance that prohibits it. I was on the council when we done this. When we annexed around the lake, Van Mavericks fought it all the way. So did Provost. Provost, we wound up doing it on the lake shore, on the lake front, all the way around. The reason that ordinance was put into place is because that way they couldn't come back after the fact, after all the annexation was done, and say, now we want to hook onto you. It was going to cost you their annex. And now we're more or less saying, right, the ordinance don't mean anything. But even this council here was willing to agree to, the first time we talked about it down here, everybody was in favor of, and they're going to annex. That was a big cookie in the sky that we're going to win this one. We're going to get them on our tax rolls. Now we're all willing to look the other way and say, oh, it's okay, we can wait 10 years. First of all, you're going against an ordinance that was already put in place, and I think we're going to set a precedence for anybody else, even Provost. If they want to come back and say, we'll annex in 10 years, we hook them up. Steve Snyder up there, he's a half mile up the road. He's willing to annex right now, and he can do it. I think this annexation thing shouldn't even be a part of the whole damn thing to begin with. I mean, it shouldn't just be a cut and dried situation where they annex and we hook them up. Bottom line is, DNR says they got to do something out there, whether we help them out or not. DNR is going to make them do it anyway. This is the easy way out. They're going to have to do it eventually anyway, no matter what.
Scott and I talked about the fact that if they did not want to be annexed in and we wanted them to be annexed in, we could force it. There's enough there that we could force this. And it would be an involuntary annexation, and it would be a little bit more work, but it's something that the city could force them to do. And I think
that's involved with that. What do you mean? I'm curious about the work. I mean, what's involved? How do you proceed?
You have public hearings. You have to make sure that the reasons for annexation are met, and that would be that they're already receiving quite a bit of services, and so then you have paperwork and filings and a couple of public hearings.
And could it? I mean, who then? Just by virtue of the process, it's done.
Yes.
Or there's some sort of governing body that...
Just understand this, that when, say, we would have an application for an involuntary annexation, it goes to what's called the City Development Board, and that's a state board that oversees annexation issues, basically. And, if we're truly looking at an involuntary annexation, the process does get to be a lot more cumbersome, and you give notice to them about what's going to happen, and then it goes to a hearing before the City Development Board. And if they're willing to approve that, it does at some point go to referendum of the community. And referendum of the community and those in the annexation area. Add those two pots together and it needs to carry by a majority, not a majority in each pot.